Hey everybody, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at this Body Armor 4x4 Ambush XT Series front bumper fitting 2010 to 2018 Ram 2500s and 3500s. This bumper is a great choice for the heavy-duty Ram owner who wants their truck to work hard and look tough. It's a hefty bumper with a lot of protection and flexibility, and it's one of the most affordable full coverage bumpers in the segment. The thing that will strike you right away with this is that it is a big old bumper, and it's going to offer full coverage for the front end of your truck all the way out to the edges of the headlights. So this is going to offer you plenty of protection no matter what you encounter. These outer sections here are going to wrap around your headlights, so it's not going to negatively impact your headlight output, but it will keep them protected in the event of an obstacle. Likewise, the center section here is going to provide you a lot of protection for your front grille, but it's not going to impact airflow into the radiator because this is pretty wide open. And if you are out in the tough stuff, if anything pops up to hit the front end, that grille guard and the bumper here are going to take the brunt of the hit instead of it being taken by your truck. Now this thing is pretty much one solid piece as well. We'll talk more about that in a second. But overall, the bumper, this grille guard, and the headlight overriders here are going to be one piece. Now further down towards the bottom, we have a couple of other things that are worth noting. First, you've got provisions for your front parking sensors. So if your truck came so equipped with front parking sensors from the factory, this is going to integrate nice and seamlessly. They're just going to pop right into the bumper. Now there are also shackle recovery points here for some heavy D-rings for some more heavy-duty pulling or off-roading situations. There's also a separate skid plate here that's going to extend down and cover underneath of the bumper, cover a bit more of the front end and the front part of your engine. So in the event you find yourself in a more intense trail, you'll have plenty of coverage there. There's also a 2-inch hitch receiver right here in the middle, and you've got provisions for a 30-inch dual row LED light bar right here in the center. Plus there's room for a couple of cube lights in each of these side pockets right here. Now of course you don't have to run those lights, and in the event that you don't want to run a dual row LED light bar right here in the front, you've got this mesh section to cover up that hole and make it look nice and integrated. Now one thing that is worth noting here is that this one is not winch compatible. So if you're looking for something that has a winch mount, this is not going to be your bumper, unfortunately. That said though, this thing has a lot of other usage and a lot of flexibility. With that hitch receiver, you can pull from the front, you can mount something to the front if you need to, and of course you've got those recovery points up there as well. So all in all, this is a very flexible, very capable bumper. The only thing it's really missing is that winch mount. But if that winch mount is not important to you, then this is going to be a great bet for you. Now, as we've already discussed earlier on in this video, this thing is solid. Everything is welded together right out of the gate. You get 2-inch diameter main tubes up here, plus 1.5 and 1.25 inch diameter supporting tubes, all attached to 3/16 inch and 1/4 inch cold rolled steel. So outside of the welds, nothing here was heated. That means any of the bends that you see in either the tubing or the bumper itself has not been heated up, meaning that none of the material was weakened in the manufacturing process. Now, of course, the whole thing is covered in a 2-stage textured black powder coat, as you see here, to protect everything. So it should be safe from rust and corrosion for a long time to come, and it should be able to take a hit. Same is true, of course, for your skid plate here, and you get all of the hardware that you need to get this mounted up onto your truck. We'll talk more about that as we get into the install process, though. First, let's talk about the pricing. This one is going to run you about $1,800, and that makes it one of the most affordable full coverage front bumpers in the segment for these trucks. Now, of course, you're not getting lighting included, and again, this is not winch compatible, which does help account for some of that cost savings. But this is still a very big, very strong bumper that looks great and is going to offer you a ton of flexibility and protection for the price. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and you can expect this job to take you around 2 hours to complete. Now this is designed to just bolt onto your truck with no permanent modifications needed. However, you will need at least one other set of hands to help you do this job, as getting this bumper set in place and getting it mounted requires more than just your own 2 hands. I don't care how strong you are, these things are really cumbersome, and you're not going to be able to hold this up and get the bolts started alone. So bribe a friend with some food and drink. You can get it done at home in pretty short order. With that though, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
For this install, you will need an impact, various ratchets, an adapter if necessary, 4mm Allen socket, 10, 13, 18, and various 24mm sockets, 10, 13, 18, and 19mm wrenches, a clip removal tool, and also not shown here is an extra set of hands and either a floor jack or a table jack and jack stands to help you get the bumper on. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing a new front bumper on our Ram, so let's get started. Alrighty guys, so the first thing we're gonna do is pull our grill off. Now this is just gonna make things much easier to access for our front bumper. So what we're gonna do first is remove the upper shroud here. So we've got a clip removal tool. We'll go ahead and pop all our push clips out and go ahead and set that aside. So we have all those out. Just go ahead and pick this up, set it aside. So next we'll go ahead and remove the 4 10mm screws up top here holding our upper grill mount in place. Now, one thing to note is ours has 2 broken tabs here in the middle, so we don't actually have to pull our middle 2 out, but removing yours at home, you should definitely have to do that. So we'll grab our 10mm socket on our ratchet and go ahead and remove these. Now we'll go ahead and give the bottom of our grill a firm tug and pop the bottom locators out like that, and we'll set this aside. Next we have this lower shroud here connected to our front bumper by these push clips again. So we're going to grab our clip removal tool and pop these out just so we can move this back. So that's just going to allow us to be able to move this. Now there is one other one right here that we can go ahead and pop down as well. It's kind of hard to get to. It is definitely optional. Now we can have access to our bumper mounts. So now we can come to our bumper mounts here on our frame horns, and we're going to use our 19mm socket on our ratchet to remove these 2 mounting nuts on our bolts here, so we can remove our whole bracket and bumper at one time. So we have 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. So we'll go ahead and we're going to go under the truck to do this. Now that we have these 2 loose, we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now that we have our nuts removed off of our bolt plates for our mounting bracket, we'll go ahead and lift up on the bumper a little bit, push those bolt plates out and remove them, then we can remove our bumper. Now I do have an extra set of hands that's going to help me with this because this is a bit of a cumbersome bumper. Definitely want to have that. Safety first. So now that we have our bumper removed, we're going to need to remove these lower brackets as well from our frame horns. So we've got a 24mm socket on our ratchet and a 24mm socket on our impact. We're going to go ahead and pull these off. And once we have this one off, we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we can begin mounting our new brackets for our bumper. So we'll go ahead and grab our driver's side one. These are going to be embossed with a D for driver or a P for passenger. We'll go ahead and line these up like so. Then we're going to grab our provided long 18mm bolts with a flat washer. Go ahead and push those through. Upper mounting positions here. And once we get those through, we'll install another flat washer, lock washer, and 18mm nut on the back side. Now we're just going to keep these front 2 installed. We're not going to worry about the lower 2 just yet. And we'll go ahead and tighten those down with our 18mm socket on our impact and an 18mm wrench. Then you want to go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Next we can go ahead and mount our skid plate brackets. That's going to go under here to these back 2 mounting holes. Now these are again labeled with a D and a P. That's for driver or passenger. So we're on our driver's side. So it's going to mount like this with the L of our bracket facing back towards the vehicle and the taper facing up towards the front. Then we'll go ahead and grab 2 more of our long 18mm bolts with flat washers and run those through here. We're going to keep that centered up on our bracket. Then for the back side, once again, we'll add another flat washer, lock washer, and 18mm nut to each bolt. Now again, we'll use our 18mm socket on our impact and an 18mm wrench to tighten these down. Now once you have this one on, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Alrighty guys, so we've got our new bumper over here, and there's a couple things we're going to need to do before we go onto the truck with it. First of which being, we do not have parking sensors on our truck, which is one thing to note. You will have to swap your sensors over, which there's a procedure listed in your kit for that. However, us not having them, we're going to go ahead and just install these provided plugs for our parking sensor holes. They simply just snap into place like so. We'll do that for all 6 of our parking sensor holes. Now we can go ahead and install our provided L brackets for our mesh grill insert here. Now, if you do have the optional LED lighting that goes in here, it will be the same exact procedure, just with the light as opposed to the grill insert. So we're gonna grab our 13mm bolt and flat washer. We're gonna mount the horizontal slot section to our bracket here. Then on the back side of that, we'll go ahead and add flat washer, a lock washer, and a 13mm nut. And we're just going to keep that loosely installed for now. We'll do the same thing for the other side. Now we'll go ahead and get our grill insert into position here in between our brackets. Get it centered up best we can. We're going to grab 2 more of those 13mm bolts and flat washers. Go ahead and put those through. Add in our flat washer, lock washer, and nut on the back side. Go ahead and make sure it's sitting how we want it to sit, nice and flush with the front of our bumper. We'll go ahead and tighten everything down. So now we'll go ahead and grab our 13mm socket on our ratchet and a 13mm wrench to tighten these down. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. Next, we can go ahead and install our tag bracket. So what we'll do is grab 2 of our Allen head bolts, put this in, and we're facing towards the front at the bottom here, so we want our actual tag location bracket to be facing out towards the front and flat. We'll get it into its mounting holes here. We'll go ahead and grab our flat washer and lock nut and get that onto it. And we'll go ahead and grab our 4mm Allen socket and a 10mm wrench to tighten this down. Alrighty guys, so now we've got our new bumper up into position. We are using a table jack, which if you have access to one, I highly recommend it. It's going to make things much easier, but you can also use like a floor jack or something like that. You definitely want to have an extra set of hands available to help you maneuver this bumper. Again, it is extremely heavy. So what we're going to do now that we have it in position is go ahead and grab 3 of our provided shorter 18mm bolts and flat washers, get those through each of our mounting points on each of the brackets we just installed onto our frame horns. Then on the back side, we'll go ahead and add flat washers and 18mm lock nuts to those. Now before we fully tighten this down, we'll go ahead and reinstall our grill as well. So we'll get under here and go ahead and install these. So for safety reasons, I've gone ahead and installed one of our bolts. Now we'll go ahead and install the other 2. And once we have those in, we'll go ahead and add our flat washers and our lock nuts in. So now that we have this loosely in place while our table jack is still supporting it, we'll go ahead and reinstall our grill. So you can go ahead and roll your new bumper forward a bit, enough to get your grill back in place. We'll go ahead and drop that back down in, line our bottom mounting tabs up. Make sure these little flaps come back over your upper mounting tabs. Then we'll get our upper mounting tabs lined back up. Then reinstall the 4 10mm screws holding it in. Now again, ours only has the 2 that we need. Go ahead and get those in. We'll use our 10mm socket on our impact to tighten these down. Now we'll go ahead and put our upper shroud back on. So we'll line up all of our push clips back into their positions. Upper 2 in, followed by our middle ones, and our outer edge ones. Now we'll go ahead and tighten down our main bracket bolts using our 19mm wrench and an 18mm socket on our ratchet. Now that we've got these tight, we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're ready to go ahead and install our skid plate. So the front of our skid plate has 3 threaded inserts that are going to go over top of the mounting locations on the bumper. So we're going to go ahead and get those in position first. And we'll slide this over the bumper. And we'll hold it on. Then we're going to grab 3 of our provided 4mm Allen head combo bolts. We'll get those loosely into these threaded inserts. This is going to help hold this in place. Then for the back 2 mounting points here, we've got our 13mm combo bolts, which we'll go ahead and drop down from the top. We'll go ahead and add in our flat washer, followed by our lock nut. Then we'll get the other side in position and come back and tighten all this down. Now we'll go ahead and start by tightening down our rear mounting bolts. So we'll grab our 13mm socket on our impact and a 13mm wrench. We'll do the same thing for our other rear mounting bolt. Then we'll tighten down our front ones with our 4mm Allen head socket on our impact. Now the last thing we can do is go ahead and install our threaded inserts for our tag bracket. So they're just going to go ahead, pop right into place. Now, one thing to remember is you should always refer to your manufacturer torque setting for all of your hardware involved.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the Body Armor 4x4 Ambush XT Series front bumper, fitting 2010 to 2018 Ram 2500s and 3500s. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, for all things Ram, be sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.